First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Amy Galo.
And I'm Isabella Leandri. Thanks for joining us.
At this hour, in a heated meeting at City Hall, Gainesville commissioners may move forward with a controversial move in the name of affordable housing.
Supporters say new zoning rules will be a bold step forward, but critics say it will destroy traditional neighborhoods where there are only single-family homes. The multiple proposals ban exclusionary zoning for developments within city limits and remove limits on the number of unrelated people allowed to live together. This could mean a lot more multifamily units and more affordable housing for the city as a whole. Residents opposed to these ordinances met before the meeting to host a speak out. Some homeowners say these changes would destroy the charm of Gainesville's neighborhoods.
How many times have decisions been made at City Hall? I'm not against density.
This is the second time the commission has voted on this matter. The first vote was a 4-3 in favor of changing the zoning laws. A similar vote this evening means the new city policies would go into effect immediately.
The watchdog group Stop Anti-Semitism gives the University of Florida just a C grade when it comes to protecting Jewish students.
Amy and I visited the UF Hillel Center and spoke to Rabbi Jonah Zinn to learn a little bit more about the environment on campus. Stop Anti-Semitism says the poor grade is because UF officials never completed a survey on anti-Semitism, even after promising they would. UF currently has one of the highest Jewish student populations in the nation, yet Stop Anti-Semitism noted there are no Jews on the school's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion initiative. Rabbi Zinn is working to include Jewish students in this program.
Anti-Semitism is a national issue, right? And UF isn't immune to this national and international phenomenon. Part of the opportunity we have right now here at UF is to be proactive. How do we create a campus culture that is as embracing and as all-encompassing of Jewish students as we can possibly be?
UF Hillel will continue to work with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office to include Jewish students in the conversation.
A Gainesville man is the subject of a sworn complaint of grand auto theft. Only in this case, the vehicle is a Florida Gators golf cart. Digital correspondent Nora O'Neill joins us with this unusual story.
After someone made off with a golf cart, police say they later found it, Gator logos removed, under a tarp at the home of 61-year-old Douglas Frederick Englert. Englert was in the news 6 years ago for a log-running battle with city code enforcement about the many items he tended to collect outside his home. This video shows what the home was like when we spoke to him in 2016. Police are not sure who drove the golf cart from campus to the Gainesville Women's Club on September 10th, but they say there's footage of Englert loading the golf cart onto a trailer the next morning. The cart is a 6-seater thought to be worth $10,000 to $20,000. Although named in a complaint, Englert has not yet been arrested. You can read my more complete story now at WUFT.org.
Did you feel those raindrops earlier?
Yes, and it's been a while since we've had some rain. WUFT's Mariana Larsen joins us now to tell us if we are going to see any more rain tonight.
Well, we did catch some rain earlier in the afternoon, but thankfully it is mainly out of our hair. If you take a look at my storm trackers, all those rain bands that were over our area early this afternoon have now moved over to the Atlantic, so we shouldn't see any rain tonight. Let's go into the current temperatures. Right now in Gainesville, it is feeling like 80 degrees. Ocala is feeling like 82, and High Springs is feeling like 80 as well. It's feeling pretty warm out there, but thankfully later on tonight, we are going to see temperatures drop just a little bit more. We're going to have lows in the mid to lower 60s. Back to the news desk.
2 people died this morning when their small plane crashed into a South Florida home. The plane crashed onto the roof of a home in Miramar, about a half-mile from a small airport in Pembroke Pines. Firefighters working the scene had to deal with fuel leakage from the wreckage. The FAA called into the NTSB to lead the investigation into the crash. As is usual, the federal agencies did not release the names of the victims. The aircraft snapped power lines on the way down, leaving several homes without power.
The Coast Guard rescued nearly 100 people from an overcrowded boat off the coast of South Florida. Crew members were told the migrants had been at sea for 7 days and without food or water for the last 2. A Coast Guard helicopter spotted people waving for help. Once on board a Coast Guard cutter, the group received food, water, shelter, and medical attention. Of the would-be migrants, there were 96 people from Haiti, 1 from Uganda, and 1 from the Bahamas. In the federal fiscal year just ended, the Coast Guard picked up more than 7,000 Haitians, more than 4 times the number from the previous fiscal year.
In Tampa, a girl was hospitalized after a shooting near a high school and is now recovering from emergency surgery. The shooting happened Friday morning near Robinson High School, so it led to a school lockdown. Tampa police believe it started with an argument among high school-age kids at a nearby apartment complex. A witness says she saw at least 4 teens running away from the scene. The 17-year-old victim was initially listed in critical condition, but police say she is now expected to survive.
The midterm election is underway with early voting in some states. In just over 3 weeks, Election Day could bring another tight battle for the evenly divided U.S. Senate. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Early voting is underway today in Georgia, ground zero in the battle for control of the evenly divided Senate.
I'm worried about this country.
Voters lining up this morning fresh off a high-stakes debate between Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock
We passed the Inflation Reduction Act
and Republican challenger Herschel Walker.
We have to protect this country.
In an NBC News exclusive, Walker giving his most extensive comments yet on allegations he paid for a former girlfriend's abortion in 2009, acknowledging for the first time that a $700 check the woman claims was used for the abortion is his.
Yes, that's my check.
But Walker insists he doesn't know what the check was for, fiercely denying the abortion claim.
This is still a lie because she's the mother of my child. So you're going to see me a check or somebody giving a check. So that I'm saying it's a lie.
More Senate debates kicking off today in Utah and a closely watched contest in Ohio. Republican J.D. Vance focused on the issue the GOP hopes will drive voters to the polls.
It's certainly the economy, and the president's just dead wrong. The economy's not doing great.
Democrat Tim Ryan distanced himself from President Biden in the last debate.
Do you want President Biden to run again in 2024?
No, I've been very clear. I'd like to see a generational change.
Other candidates are seeking the president's help. He's back at the White House today after campaigning for Democrats out west in the final push before the midterms. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
In local politics, we invite you to a Gainesville mayoral debate sponsored by WUFT and the Gainesville Sun. The runoff candidates are Harvey Ward and Ed Bielarski, and the UF Levin College of Law will host the event 1 week from tomorrow. You can see about getting tickets to attend through WUFT.org, and you can submit potential questions by emailing GainesvilleVoice@gmail.com. The debate will be carried live on WUFT-FM, our website, and the newspaper's website. Instagram and Twitter both restricted Kanye West's accounts this month after he made anti-Semitic posts on their platforms.
Now he's found a loophole. Coming up on WUFT News First at 5, we'll tell you about West's plans to acquire a completely different social media platform that plans to keep him in the digital space. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
The Department of Justice wants Steve Bannon, former advisor to President Trump, to be sentenced to 6 months in prison and fined $200,000 for contempt of Congress. In a memorandum filed today in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., the Justice Department cited Bannon's lack of compliance with a subpoena from the January 6 committee. Bannon refused to turn over documents and refused to testify before the committee. The memorandum said Bannon flouted the committee's authority and ignored the subpoena's demands. Sentencing for Bannon is scheduled for Friday.
Rapper Kanye West has agreed to acquire the conservative social media app Parler. Parent company Parliament Technologies announced the agreement to sell the platform to West, now known legally as Ye, with plans to close the deal by the end of the year. Details such as the acquisition price have not been disclosed. The move comes a week after West was locked out of his Twitter account and restricted on Instagram for anti-Semitic posts. Parler, which touts itself as a free speech and uncancelable space, was also forced offline last year for its ties to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
The members of K-pop band BTS will serve their mandatory military duties under South Korean law, their management company said today, effectively ending a debate on exempting them because of their artistic accomplishments. Big Hit Music said the band's oldest member, Jin, will revoke his request to delay his conscription at the end of the month. The 6 other members also plan to serve in the military now, according to the company's notice to financial regulators. Big Hit issued another statement on Twitter saying the company and BTS members are looking forward to reconvening again as a group around 2025, following their service commitment.
We are in the middle of October, but it's still so hot outside.
I know, I just want it to get just a little bit colder. Mariana, what's the weather looking like?
Well, thankfully, tonight we are getting a cold front, so it's going to feel a little bit more like fall starting tomorrow. All that and more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Hey there and welcome back. Let's take a look outside of our studio right now. It is looking nice and blue out there. We do have a few clouds, but overall a nice afternoon. All the rain we had earlier in the day is no longer an issue to us anymore. Let's take a look at the satellite radar. If you take a look at that green, orange, and red spot right there, those were the clouds and the rain that was over us earlier, but now it's moved into the Atlantic, so we are not going to see any rain later on tonight. But take a look at those cloud bands right here. That is the cold front that is going to be moving into our area tonight and causing a drop in temperatures all week long. Now, as that cold front starts to move down the state, it will bring a chance of severe thunderstorms. Now, if you see the area highlighted in green, that means those areas along the coast are at a marginal risk. Now, it doesn't pose a severe threat right now, but it is something to take a look at for the next few days. Now, let's look at our current temperatures right now. You can see Gainesville is at 82, Ocala's at 82 as well, and so is High Springs. It's feeling pretty warm out there, but it won't be feeling like that for much longer. Looking at our evening planner, you can see it's going to be a mostly cloudy skies tonight, with temperatures reaching lows in the mid and lower 60s, so it's going to be a little bit cooler. Now, we are going to be keeping an eye on some freeze watches that might pop into our area in the next coming days. Right now, the Panhandle is seeing some of those freeze watches, as well as most of southern Alabama. And although north central Florida is not experiencing any of that tonight and tomorrow morning, it is something to keep an eye on as well. Take a look at the hour by hour for tomorrow. We are going to be seeing lows in the lower 70s, so it is going to feel a little bit cooler, not too cold, but definitely a significant difference. Now, the real treat tomorrow is going to be tomorrow night, where we're going to see lows in the 40s almost all across north central Florida. Is going to be pretty cold. I'm excited to finally be able to wear a sweater. I hope you are too. Let's take a look at the 6-day outlook. We can see that there's going to be a great dip in the temperatures, especially Wednesday's highs of 66. So just be ready to bring out that pumpkin spice latte. Back to you.
Applications for Biden's student loan forgiveness plan are now available.
Francis Kapper is here with the full story.
Americans can now start applying for student loan debt relief online. The beta website for the Biden-Harris administration's student loan forgiveness opened over the weekend. Eligibility is determined based on your income from 2020 to 2021. Individuals making less than $125,000 or families making less than $250,000 are eligible. The loan forgiveness offers up to $20,000 for people with Pell Grants. However, only $10,000 are available for non-Pell Grant recipients. Pell Grant recipient Theodore Stronkowski said he was enthusiastic about this opportunity.
I feel like a free man, for lack of better words. Like, it's kind of nice, get to remove 20 grand off of my debt, which is nice, Dollar saved, dollar earned.
Applications are open until December 30th, 2023. That's all from me. Now back to the desk.
Florida football drops its 3rd game of the year, but the conference as a whole is doing pretty good.
That's right, Tennessee is moving up the rankings after the big win over Alabama. Coming up in sports, Chris Will has the full breakdown of where the SEC stands in the latest AP Top 25 poll. We'll be right back.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Chris Will. Florida football enters the bye week with a 4-3 record after losing to LSU on Saturday. The Gators are now 1-3 in the SEC and rank dead last in the FBS in third down defense. Florida gave up over 175 yards on the ground and another 350 in the air. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels dismantled the Florida defense with 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 more passing. Florida will look to turn things around during the bye week. When it comes to the state of the program, though, Florida head coach Billy Napier says the program is making steps in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want to win every single game that we play, right? We've lost a handful of games, right? So, you know, I think that we're year one. We're in year one, right? And, you know, I think the big thing that I would say is that we're working hard on the people, right? And I think we're making progress there.
Florida's next game will be on October 29th against the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Jacksonville. Now, while the Gators may be struggling, multiple teams in the SEC find themselves among the top programs in the country. The Georgia Bulldogs remain the #1 team in the nation after beating down on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Georgia ran away with this one 55-0. And it was a game-winning field goal that secured the Tennessee Volunteers' first win over the Alabama Crimson Tide since 2006. The 40-yard field goal as time expired got Tennessee the 52-49 win. Fans rushed on the field, and the Volunteers ran up the AP poll. The Volunteers find themselves at #3 in the latest edition of the AP Top 25, while Alabama falls to #6. Ole Miss is now #7 after beating Auburn, while Kentucky moves to 19 with Mississippi State at 24. South Carolina and Arkansas both received top 25 votes. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever witnessed a game that has had a team score 21 points in the first half and then 0 in the second half, with the other team coming back to win. But that's exactly what happened when Union County hosted Hawthorne on Friday. The Union County Fightin' Tigers went up by 3 touchdowns before halftime. Down 21-0, the Hawthorne Hornets came out like a completely different team in the second half. The Hornets put together 28 unanswered points to keep the undefeated season alive, and they will take on North Marion on Friday. Union County will host Santa Fe.
Thanks, Chris. Before we go, one last check on the weather.
If you haven't already heard, we have a cold front coming in, and I know I'm so excited about it, and I hope you are too. Let's take a look at that 6-day forecast. We can definitely see the change in temperatures this week. 66 on Wednesday. Grab your sweaters, grab your lattes. It's going to be a cool week. Back to you.
Thanks, Mariana. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.